You can see by that last little segment of the DVD, by using the meridians, we can go from a drunken uncle at wedding scenario where we don't really want to hurt them, right the way through step by step into someone perhaps who's a drug-crazed rapist who we really do want to hurt. And we've got all the building blocks and the steps in between them. So as you can see, on this DVD, which we're calling the Pain Matrix, we can actually show how and why these systems are actually working. Naturally, in the DVDs to follow, we'll be doing a lot more hands-on practical stuff, showing you the applications in the street and how to actually utilise them far more effectively. Now, with any martial arts DVD, obviously people want to see action and what they can actually do, but it is vitally important that we go through this, and this is really sort of one of the keys that makes this work. If you look at here, it's a map you'll see quite often, but I've done it a little bit differently, to be honest. Each of the major organs has an attachment to one of these, either a fire, earth, metal, water, or wood meridian. I'll repeat that again. We have fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Each of these feeds in to the next meridian, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. If we look first of all at where the actual organs sit within this, the fire meridians are classed as the heart, the pericardium, the small intestine, and the triple warmer. And just as an aside, the triple warmer is associated with the body's metabolism, not an organ. Earth has the stomach and the spleen. Metal has the lung and large intestine. Water has the bladder and the kidney. And then wood has the liver and the gallbladder. Now don't worry about getting this down. There will be a slide with the sort of supplementary CD you can run off your computer on this. Each of these meridians has a relationship with each other. As it goes on the constructive cycle here, the one preceding it is called the mother and the following one the son. And they nourish each other. So the fire meridian will nourish the earth meridian. That is a mother-son relationship. The earth nourishes the metal. Metal comes round to the water meridian. In turn nourishes the wood meridian. In turn nourishes the fire meridian. That's a constructive cycle. And you'll see how we can use this later on in the application side. However, if you notice there is a pentagram formed in the middle, and this is the destructive cycle, and this is where, in my opinion, the really interesting stuff from a martial perspective happens. And the best way to remember this is almost, it's quite childish, but it's a sort of rock, paper, scissors game that you probably played as a child. Okay. So if we look here, fire would come down and it would melt metal. So fire melts metal. Metal in turn cuts wood. So you know, fire melts metal. That's fairly easy to remember. But think about this. Perhaps metal is an axe that would then cut down wood. Wood would then deplete earth. So again, think of tree roots growing in, taking out nutrients out of the soil, or the roots coming through and ripping the soil to shreds. The earth meridian then comes through and dams water. So imagine you've got a river, earth goes in and actually dams that particular waterway. Water then would extinguish fire. Pretty self-explanatory. So again, fire melts metal. Metal would cut wood. Wood would deplete earth. Earth would dam water, and then water would then go through to fire and extinguish it. So what sense does this make? Well, let me explain to you. What I'm aiming to do on the first of the DVD series, and you know, with luck there'll be a second one, we'll go into this in a lot more detail for people who want to really understand the martial science. But if I can pick one of the meridians say for an example, triple warmer. And I want to make that attack that much more effective. I could be touching into that meridian, I could be striking, I could be rubbing into it, or what have you. The next part of my cycle, I would realistically be looking at either going to an earth, so hitting one of the stomach areas or the spleen areas, or more importantly, I'd be looking at that fire burns metal or melts metal. And to be honest, if you look at the Dragon Society stuff, which is very, very good, and it's formed a big basis of what I do, a lot of their actual 50 core techniques are based around the fire burns metal. That's a very effective one. Now, so it could be I strike into a small intestine area, I then strike into a lung, but I don't have to stop there. If that hasn't worked, I could then start stacking them up. I could then hit into one of the liver points, then come into the stomach, and then perhaps into one of the bladners. And if that hasn't worked, guys, you're possibly doing it wrong, but it would be devastating. And you'll see again, I refer back to a lot of the Chinese forms, and I refer back to the Japanese jiu-jitsu, kata, and I also refer back to the karate. You'll quite often see these points and these areas being struck in a way where this actually happens. So, remember there are two cycles. One is the nourishing one, or the constructive cycle. The second one is the destructive cycle. Right in the middle of this, I put the yin and yang. And at the start of DVD 2, I'll be explaining the yin yang theory, how we can make this work even more.